Besides, we're working on it. So
That's a great start.
South Rome.
So, yes, you're right.
Nice.
You know, I don't even know what's being done about the drainage problem.
So we're working
in
on
South. Here, thanks
Cheers.
for coming back.
Absolutely.
For
Cheers.
another round with us. Spent a little bit. You're a busy guy.
Yeah, a little busy. You know, I got a year in the books though, so I'm pretty much a veteran at this now. I think.
So I was going to open with that. 'Cause
Wily
we
veteran.
We had Mike Leamy on last week, and he said kind of the same thing. He's like,
Yeah.
hey, I got a year under. I got kind of got the routine.
Yep.
You're feeling the same way.
Yeah, it's you know those first. Well, I got hit with a tornado, but before that, you know, those first 4 to 5 months, you're kind of learning the way and you know, figuring out kind of where you sit with everybody and kind of learning the language that everybody speaks in the political world and just the municipal world. Obviously, the tornado kind of threw a wrench into all of our plans, but now sitting here a year into it, it's kind of like, you know, I got the handle as far as the flow goes and getting to every place and having the conversations that we need to have for our community. So yeah, kind of settling in now.
When you have a big event like that, tornado, it sucks for everybody. I mean, obviously people are hurting, but do you see this almost new opportunity to say, hey, now we can tackle this, or like now we can kind of, with the money, we can kind of do some things now that we might have thought we wanted to do later. Like, how does a major event like that pivot of what needs work? Obviously, first getting people back on their feet, getting roofs over their heads, fine. But when you look like on a major disaster of a flood down by Staley, or like a tornado, like something like that, you're like, hey, now how do we use the money that we're receiving from this, but also partner with local money or even growth or businesses to say, hey, let's take care of James, or let's take care of, you know, whether it's the facade or whatever it is that would happen on East Dominick. What's the vision of that? Is there anything in the works, or is it just kind of just, you know, still putting together the pieces from people and businesses?
You know, when it first hit, obviously our top priority was life and safety. Mm-hmm. You know, we wanted to be out there. We wanted to make sure there wasn't any major injuries and obviously loss of life. And then making everything safe so people could get back to getting out in the community, using the streets and things like that, and making their houses secure. Once we got through that, then it was a cleanup effort. You know, getting the trees and the wires out of the road, and then getting power restored and all that. And obviously the cleanup effort took months. It wasn't something that was going to be able to be accomplished, you know, within a few weeks. It was months of the cleanup effort. So we've kind of shifted now into that kind of rebuilding stage. And you look at some of the areas that got heavily damaged. You know, those buildings were heavily damaged because they were old, you know, starting to break down on themselves. And then a tornado comes through and kind of pushes them over the edge.
Finishes them off.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. So now we're looking at those areas and we're saying, okay, yeah, this was horrible. It was devastating to our community. But now this is an opportunity that we might not have had, or would have taken a substantial amount of money to make these things happen. So now we're looking at it as on a positive side. How can we reconfigure these areas? How can we, you know, build them back even better than what they were? And that's kind of where we're at right now, is looking at these different areas. And, you know, you guys have seen we've acquired some properties for that exact reason, to say, hey, listen, the owners, they don't have the funding to either take these buildings down or rehab them. We have some funding that was given to us through the state as some help. So we're trying to utilize that to the best of our ability to do things like that, to say, hey, let's take this property and let's take it down, make it shovel ready, and get it developed into something great. So
nice. Okay.
I mean, you have to feel like an earthquake, tornado, snowmageddon. I mean, that was a pretty good snowfall we had there.
A few feet.
I feel like you've taken all the punches you probably could take here with natural disasters wise, and now you probably had to grow some confidence. Like, all right, I pretty much handled everything so far. What else could this mess? What else could happen?
Honestly, you know, you get thrown all this stuff, and you're like, man, what did I do? What did I do in a previous life to get this great job, to have the, you know, the ability to lead our community, and then all of a sudden it's one thing after another.
Yeah.
You know, the earthquake when you guys were meeting with me that one day.
Right.
Then obviously the tornado rips through.
We
Then
get
we
everything.
get the largest snowstorm since the 60s. But you know
You're
what?
just getting him out of the way.
Yeah, exactly. I'm hoping that that's just, my first 25% of my political career in the books is I got everything out of the way. It's the rest of the way is going to be a cakewalk.
Right, but you have put out all these fires,
Yeah,
and you're still here and smiling.
I'm still here. I'm
Yeah,
still
it's good.
standing.
But now you probably want to get on to stuff that you wanted to tackle. And one of those things I wanted to bring up, and we had some viewers ask us some questions,
Yeah.
and one of which was the field house.
Yep.
And I know we've talked quite a bit off camera, on camera, and such like that.
We were having an issue figuring out what was on the record and what
does
at this
everyone
point.
know at this point, or what's supposed to be known, or where that project is in terms of public consumption, and where that is.
I remember seeing somewhere that somebody said that I was hiding and trying to sneak in a field house. At what point, when I put money through the Common Council and through BOE in the budget, am I hiding a field house? Which was comical to me, because I'm like, if
you're going to hide something a little cooler than that.
Exactly. If I'm going to hide something, I'm going to do a lot better
your
than
vacation slush fund.
Feel free to stop by yoursentinel.com for that misinformation.
So give us the field house scoop.
So
where
the
are we
field
now?
house,
That's an exciting thing.
Yes, absolutely. So obviously, I'm a sports guy, and I think as a police officer and as a kid myself, I was a kid that, I rode the fence most of my juvenile career, and I could have went either way. And, luckily my mother and coaches and things like that kept me on the right path. And I ended up where I am today. But a lot of that was because of sports. I always sat back, and I wasn't a kid that loved going to school. And I was a kid that was like, I got to go to school because I don't want to miss practice. I don't want to miss the game. I don't want to get in trouble. So I kept my grades up for that, and I attended school for sports. So even as a police officer, when I would deal with juveniles that were troublesome with their parents or in school or something like that, I'd say, get them involved. I don't care what it is, whether it's sports or it's a musical instrument or it's art, you get them involved doing something that they're passionate about. It's going to keep them off the streets. It's going to keep them. I don't want to lose that. So I'm not going to make this bad decision. So obviously when I got involved in possibly running for mayor, and then obviously when I won, a big thing to me was a field house. We need some place for these kids to go. Our winter months are tough here. You guys know that it's cold. We really
only 8 months worth of winter, I feel like.
Exactly. Yeah. That's not bad, right?
Right.
We get 3 months of nice weather and 8 months of winter. The other one's up in the air.
I was doing the addition there.
Could go either way.
That's the mud season. Yeah.
Yes, it's the mud season.
Right.
Yeah. So the big thing was everybody travels to accelerate, elevate all over the place to take their kids. I got friends that take their kids to Binghamton to play soccer, Albany, Buffalo, all over the place. So we kicked off with, hey, let's look into putting a field house here in Rome. Looked at a couple places, put some money aside to do a feasibility study. Hey, can the city of Rome support this? I personally think we can, but let's put it out there and talk to the people that are involved. So we put the feasibility study out there, and then we start getting that back, and the Y project crumbles. And you guys are well aware of that. And it kind of pushed us into a 2 to 3 year plan, into a, hey, let's see what we can do right away to try to salvage this project and maybe get this field house up and running sooner than we even thought. So we did the feasibility study. No real surprise. It came back that, we definitely need it. It's something that could be supported here. The other side of that feasibility study is financially, can it be supported? That's still something that we're teetering on because, does it need to be, if it's just the city running it, we don't need it to be some big lucrative thing where we're making a ton of money off of it. It's kind of like the Kennedy Arena. I sit here today and tell you we do not make money at the Kennedy Arena selling slushies and cookies. But even though
I have supported it. I bought 973 slushies this year.
I was going to say, even though my son
at 7:45 in the morning,
$20
which makes complete sense
every time we're there.
Yeah.
So maybe this year we might turn a profit between Teddy and Connor. But honestly, it's there. We hope to break even because it's something we provide to our community, and it's a great asset to this community. Yep. And Kennedy Arena is. I'm a hockey kid. I spend all my weekends in hockey arenas. We have one of the most top-notch, facilities behind Nexus, obviously, but between our ice surface and the facilities that provide, they're top-notch. So the way we look at it is the same thing for a field house. It doesn't need to be something that is completely lucrative and we need to turn a whole bunch of money, but we want to be able to break even. We want to be able to support it. It's not costing the taxpayers. We're providing a service, but it's not at the expense of the taxpayers. So that's kind of what we're looking at right now, how to run it so that we can do it and break even or maybe turn a little bit. So we put that out there as far as the feasibility study. Now I just allocated some more funding to actually start like a design process of it. We've talked with Bonaccio, who has the property over on Floyd Ave for the Woodhaven project. And then the 7 acres that the Y was going on is actually owned by the city. So that was something that we were contributing to the project, the Y project. We were giving them those 7 acres to build on. So that's now been back to the city. So that's a area that we've been looking at, is if we can build a field house over on that 7 acres and, kind of connected. You have MVCC right across the street. You have the Bonaccio project that's going off hopefully this spring. And then it's easy access, because you think about Kennedy Arena, it's in the middle of the city. You have a big, the West Jenny game the other night. When I pulled up over there, traffic was backed up forever because it's a residential right in the heart of the city. So we really want to think about, if you're going to bring in a tournament that's bringing in 300 kids for a weekend for a soccer tournament or a field hockey, you want to have easy access in and out to it. Right over here is 825 Floyd Ave, and you're right there to the facility. Same thing on the way out.
And a few different ways to get there too.
Yeah,
right, yeah,
absolutely.
So is that are we locked into that site?
No, we're not locked in.
That's just our leading candidate.
That's our leading candidate right now. It's kind of,
to clarify
when we obviously, when the Y project bailed out, it was kind of like, hey, this is a great opportunity. 7 acres of land. That's more than enough than what we need. It's connected with the Bonaccio project there, where some housing is going to go up. MVCC, I think, would be a great partner if they needed a facility to house some things. So that was kind of it pushed us that way. We were looking at a few other sites. Obviously, that wasn't one of them originally. We had talked with the YMCA with a partnership, possibly putting the field house over there somewhere, which would have been Bonaccio giving back some land that they had purchased. But obviously that fell apart once the Y project crumbled. So,
what were some of the other spots?
Well, we looked down by the waterfront, down where the skate park is going right now.
Yeah.
So we looked over there, and we didn't own any land over there, so it would have taken us to acquire some land. We looked at Kennedy Arena, doing an expansion off of Kennedy Arena, and whether take the municipal pool out or do some type of expansion behind the municipal pool, whatever we could do over there. That one kind of got shifted out quickly because, for one, we'd have to give up the pool to do anything over there, and that is a heavily used pool in the summertime. And then also the traffic issue.
Yeah, because I feel like that makes sense. You have some shared services there if you did a combined effort, but
yes,
you're landlocked. Like, you run out of land real quick.
You're really landlocked.
What about a hockey tournament, and then you have a soccer? You're stuffed.
Yeah, you're stuffed over there. So that was kind of.
What about the Bonaccio building? What road is that? When you're heading into the lab, I forgot what road that is. Espresso's, Community Bank, and then they have that vacant building, the huge one that we look. I mean, it's
March Street, like that.
Maybe over by March.
On the other side of it,
because it would give you a building for services already, so you don't have to build from the bottom up. I know they just already rehabbed it a little bit, but there's also all that land. Oh, it's right by past AIS. So you got that. Yep. You go off the circle, you got AIS, and then you got that other building that's already built, and then you can build a field house off the back of that. Yep. I just thought about going over there for a cup of coffee, but cause I think the business park is great. The access to it is incredible. Like you said, you don't want to be landlocked right away. Right, because you hope to do it works out well, and you want to put in more ball fields or outdoor fields or other services, right? So, I think that's just a thought. I just thought,
absolutely, and that's the thing is, hopefully once we get to the point where we get to the design process of actually, because this is the thing is, people are mostly visual. They want to see something. I could sit here all day and tell you guys my vision. I can tell you my vision in my head, but that vision in my head isn't the same that's the vision in your head. So when I'm telling you field house, you're thinking this dumpy little pavilion with a tarp that hangs down for walls, and that's not my vision. But now, if we can put something visual out there and say, hey, this is what we're talking about. Now everybody's going, oh, wow. Yes, this would be amazing. This would be something great in our community.
So what is the timeline for somewhat of a soft presentation of ideas?
We're hoping within the next couple months. We've hired an architecture group that's working on it. If you saw in the Common Council, I wasn't hiding anything. I allocated the funding specifically for this. That went through a month or two ago. We contracted with them to start designing the plans, and we took the feasibility study, took out some things, because the first feasibility study came back like I put everything in there: golf simulators, a golf driving range, 2 fields, community room. You just
a Turning Stone event.
Yes. You threw the Cadillac out there, and it rang in at $65 million. So.
Almost real money.
I mean,
it's kind of like
a lot of zeros.
Yeah. So that
is not what we're doing, right?
We're
but what we did is
I found my
65 million?
clickbait.
65
yeah,
million, though.
65 million.
Can you grab that clickbait over there? Yeah,
We'll make that
let's
into
do
a thumbnail. Make this like crazy face
Yeah,
we can use.
exactly. So we took that 65 million. Obviously, we backed it down, and we said these are the essentials. This is what we have to have. We need a field. I want a large enough field that we can hold 11-on-11 soccer tournaments, because right now there's nobody locally that can do that. Nexus can't do it. Accelerate can't do it. We want to be able to provide that to say, hey, we can do
We had
11-on-11.
something different. That
Yeah.
we could,
So right now we're locked in at that 11-on-11 size field. So we didn't want to give that up, but we gave up some other things to try to get that money, that figure down to more of a reasonable cost to the community and the taxpayers.
what's the more palatable rough number?
If I had to say like what is comfortable to me that I think we could definitely support and do is, $20 to $25 million.
And that aligns with the Y project. So,
Yes,
I mean, if
exactly.
you almost have
That's-
dual feasibility studies saying that,
Yes.
because they could have pulled it off.
Yes.
I really do. And I have no problem backing that up and putting it out. They could have pulled it off and got
I'm
the
with
money.
you. I'm with you on that.
It was frustrating. But anyway, moving on.
But you got to respond, right? You can't just
No, and
be
that's the thing
frustrated
is-
by it. You got to pick up the pieces and run
that's-
with it yourself.
And that's what we said. Like, we grabbed a bunch of people that were involved in the Y project after that fell through. And I know you guys are aware of that. And we said, guys, come to the table with us. Let's discuss our ideas. And, I think it's going to go right along the lines of what you guys are trying to do with the Y. Come on board with us and let's work on this thing together and continue the momentum that you guys have already built over 5 years.
Right.
This community's been hearing about this Y project, and now it just gets ripped out from right underneath us. And
I can feel my everything.
You getting fired up?
we can have another discussion about that. But so we want to keep that momentum going. We want the community to know that we're not just giving up on it, and we're gonna make this happen.
So I have one request.
Yes.
All right, there might be more, but here's one I think you can easily fulfill.
All right.
If you name it, or when you name it, can it not end in ATE? Elevate, accelerate.
Yeah, we're not going to rhyme it with any of those.
Excruciate.
You know how many parents
have gone to the wrong.
Yes, have taken their kids to the wrong place because somebody's like, hey, it's at Elevate. They drive to Accelerate.
Right.
They're like, wait, where's my kid's team?
Right.
Oh, they're at Elevate. Yeah, I've heard that story a lot
Can you
of times.
guarantee that to me? We
I
can
will.
do something else.
I can.
Okay, good.
You can tag that right now. I will not. We'll not have it rhyme with either one of those.
Thank you. Oh my God.
Just to satisfy the listeners here in their social posts, a couple questions here.
Yeah, more questions.
I might even.
Some
I know
of them are actually pretty good.
There's some quick ones though. What's going on at the old Gillette parking area? That's going to be Burn Dairy.
It's Burn Dairy, correct?
And then they're going to be
featured in the Daily Sentinel.
As featured in Daily
Yeah,
Sentinel.
they
Already covered that as well. We
Sean
cover
called
a
me
lot.
on that. He did. He called me on that a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. After 1 year as a mayor, what aspect of the job do you realize you were most unprepared for?
I'd say time management. I think I've said this here before. I'm a very scheduled kind of guy. Like, I get frustrated when I'm late. I get frustrated when the next thing runs a little bit longer, and I'm like, now I'm going to be late.
Snowball effect after that.
Yeah, I big timed you guys a couple times where
we noticed.
Yeah, it's okay.
So yeah, I would say time management. This job is that when you try to do it right and you try to be everywhere and be involved, it can be very difficult. And that's just the type of person I am. I like to be involved. And it's not that I need to have, my finger on everything. I just like to be in the room to hear what's going on, so that I can say, yeah, absolutely, this is going on. I by no means. My team is incredible at City Hall. They run on their own, and you know what I mean. And they come to me. They give me, the updates of what's going on, where we're at with certain projects, and I say, all right, great, keep it rolling. But I do like, I like to be involved in the conversation as far as just know what's going on. So it makes it difficult time.
We talked about water projects in the past, but a couple people sent in the DPW letter that of the service line has been identified as lead.
Yep.
Like, what's some of the plans to? And obviously, that's a huge issue. We have the lead program at the community foundation, and there's funds for that. But like, what are the next steps for people that have identified that, or what's happening on the city side?
So that's another state mandate that's unfunded. That's going to come down, and by I can't remember the exact years, but by this year, every house has to be lead free and every city pipeline has to be lead free. So we're trying to do the best we can with get out there and find out exactly how many lead pipes do exist still in Rome, which obviously Rome's an older community. So I'm sure there's going to be, a significant amount that comes through. But right now we're just trying to get ahead of that to build the database to say, hey, this is how many we have to correct. This is how many residents are responsible for this, and they need assistance. Majority of people can't come out of their pockets to fix this issue. So at that point, we'll take this information, we'll go back and try to get some funding, and hopefully there's something that comes along that they're going to be able to help on this, not only on the municipal side, but also on the private side.
And this is mostly from that basically like 10-foot or water valve towards the house that has lead, nothing that's on the main line or going to the house, or are there issues?
There could be issues from the main line. There could be
Gotcha.
issues on the municipal side, and that's what we're doing, is trying to see how many municipal lines we still have that might have lead in them.
Gotcha.
But the main thing that we sent out there in that letter that you're referring to is for the private side, which would be the homeowners to be able to look at, look at their water service down in their basement or wherever it comes into the house and say, hey, this is what I have. This is what I don't have. So that we're able to say, okay, possibly have lead. Now we got to be able to get it tested and see if it needs to be replaced or if you're okay.
All right.
Look at you ripping through this
Just
list.
ripping through these.
This is good.
Now that he mentioned time management, you're on your game
I'm
right now.
just
I like
ripping
it. Well,
getting
listen,
through.
I did keep my schedule open, So I know.
Why is the 2-hour parking limit not enforced in the 100 to 200 block of West Dominick Street from 8:30 to 4:30? There are 0 spots for people to park and patronize the businesses in that area.
I want to
So-
chime in this. I kind of agree.
I'm
because
with you. That's where my office is.
My daughter has art classes there,
Yep.
and I'm like, there's
At
more.
E85.
Yeah, and
Good
we're like,
point.
where do we park? And I feel like such a
So
country bumpkin worried about.
Well, and
parking,
by the way, we don't like to walk more than a couple blocks. So
That's-
or 12
I
days.
feel like
Rome,
that's
New
where
York.
I feel like that's where we're
Oh,
kind of
yeah,
going with some of
that's-
this, but
But it
that's
does make
where we
sense.
are.
I feel like those cars are there for a
this is
while.
coming from someone that runs 5 miles a day.
That's
So
true. Yeah, I know.
Like,
Why don't you
what?
park at Kennedy and walk over there? I know, let's run over.
Good idea.
See,
I'll
get
put-
Teddy out there running
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, toughen him up a
Yeah.
little bit.
So the previous administration cut the parking authority, so there is no parking authority. So the only way the
Wait, I can't get any parking tickets?
only way to enforce it is through the police officers,
Oh.
and the police officers are short-staffed, and they have other things,
They're
and
not
it's
in the mood.
difficult to monitor parking on West Dominick Street. What I brought back this year was parking authority. So we are currently right now, if anybody's looking for a job, we are looking for people to be in the parking authority. I put it as a 2-position job. And once we're able to fill those spots, we'll be able to have people out there that are going to enforce that parking. And we reinstituted a parking permit. So the people that are down there, the businesses and the residents that live down there, they will get a parking permit for the lots that are over there, the new parking lots
Right,
that
it's
are
like
over there.
behind the cafe. Like
Yeah,
the
behind
new
the
one. Yeah.
Capitol, and then the new one that's
That's
on
where they
James
should be
Street.
parking. Right.
Yes. And so what'll happen is what we're trying to do is move those residences and those businesses that are parking on our main strip where the parents should be dropping their kids off or going to shop at the stores, go to eat.
Mhm.
We'll be able to park there, and the businesses and the residents will be parking in our parking lots. If they don't, parking authority will be out there to start issuing tickets. Hopefully, we're hoping by the spring to get these jobs filled. It came available, obviously, January 1st when the new budget started. But like anything else, it's difficult to find, people for the
Emily,
job.
could you get this clip? Where can these people go to sign up for the job? Who you're looking for, and like
City of Rome website. They can
Okay.
go on there. We haven't posted the actual job description yet. We're right now figuring out the logistics of it. But if anybody is interested, please go to the website. You can send in a request saying that you would be interested in the job. It is going to be a part-time position at this time. Between two people is what we're hoping, is that between the two of them, they can work out a schedule that's good. So good retirement gig, or,
Yeah.
somebody just looking for a little extra cash is.
So you'll have
Yeah,
some
good
extra
look,
revenue, I would assume, through parking
It's-
tickets. Well,
and-
what's the net to the budget between salary and what you would have for more income of?
It's all paid for.
Is it
and that
pretty
was the
much
thing
a
is when
budget neutral?
Yeah,
effort?
when we looked at bringing this back, obviously the first thing we look at is how's this going to hit the budget. We don't
Mhm.
really have
You
the
gotta pay
funding
for
for it.
things. Yep.
So what we did is we brought back the parking permit. We charge $1 a parking spot for the parking permits. Now that we get from the businesses and the residents pays for the salary of the parking authority.
$1 a day?
And it was
$1 a day.
$1
Yeah.
a day
Yeah.
for a parking spot for the
Um,
residents.
We better keep our chamber meetings to under 2 hours.
Yeah, you
yeah.
better.
Yeah, that's
Well, all you got to do
Another
is just
great reason
an
to
hour,
keep
an
it
hour
short.
and 55, just run out and move to the next slot.
Gonna mark the
But-
tire.
Yeah.
Speaking of city jobs, I must ask this one.
Okay.
Ooh,
This one,
ooh.
got a little play
Oh,
online. I thought it was pretty funny. So the commissioner of public safety,
Yes.
you need just a mere 24 years or 25 years experience, 15 years supervisor role for 45 grand. It seems off. What is the deal with that? A lot of cool jokes. Some are pretty funny on here.
Are they? I don't read them.
They're pretty reasonable.
So
Let's see. Yeah, give us the scoop on that, Jeff.
So for anybody that doesn't know, if you are a retired New York State, whether you're a policeman, a fireman, or any other New York State retiree, you are capped, and you can only make after retiring, you can only make $35,000 a year.
Okay.
So what happens is people that these types of jobs, things like that, they want to take it on a part-time role, or they're just can't take the job because it's going to be over their limit that they're allowed for their pay. But at the same time, public safety commissioner, we want somebody with public safety experience. So we want it out there that we want 25 years of public safety, whether it's as a fireman, it's as a police officer, it's some other form of public safety that you're going to have some experience coming in. Which is what we have currently with our public safety commissioner. He's got
it seemed very
30 plus.
tailored.
Yes.
30 plus.
Very specific.
Well, it's honestly what I wanted as somebody that's going to be in that role, because you're overseeing the police chief, you're overseeing the fire chief. Those guys have 20 plus years of experience. Fire chief has 30 plus years of
You
experience.
should be able to talk the language with them.
Yes. So you want somebody that's going to be able to have comfortable conversations with that person and be knowledgeable in the job. The other side of that is the public safety commissioner is an at-will employee. If I like you today, you have a job. If I don't like you tomorrow, you could not have a job. So it's very difficult for somebody, say me, with 15 years of law enforcement experience, that I'm going to walk out on my civil service job, take a job with Jeff Lanigan today as his public safety commissioner, and he could fire me next week.
Mhm.
And now I can't go back to my civil service job that I had. Or they get through the next 3 years with me. I don't get reelected. Somebody else comes in and says, hey, I'm bringing in my buddy to be the public safety commissioner. They're out of job. So there's no job security with that job. So it's very difficult to get somebody to take that position in the first place that's not a retiree. So we put it out there. We know it's going to be somebody that's more than likely a retiree in law enforcement or fire safety. But it's something that we need. We need that experience here. And luckily we have that with our current public safety commissioner. He does an incredible job. But we had to do a recruitment effort. So we had to put the job out there and see what else is out there and see if we could fill it with somebody that's not a retiree. So that's where we're at with that one.
Is that position that's necessary? Like, why isn't the mayor that?
I would never have the time to do it.
It's too much time.
And the thing is, so maybe previous years,
I don't know the history of this position.
Yeah,
so I don't know if it has or hasn't.
Previous.
Yeah.
My public safety commissioner, when I interviewed people for this position before I took office, I told them it's not going to be the oversight. Like, I don't want you every day at the police department, at the fire department. We have nuisance problems. We have squatting problems. We have homeless problem. Like, this is what I want the focus to be for public safety. And he's done an incredible job for that. He's made a nuisance abatement committee, which he meets monthly to go over these problem houses that we've had within the city of Rome, that we cleared out several of them within our first few months that we were here, that neighborhoods have been dealing with for years. And we just came in and strategically picked them apart and then went in there and said, you got to go. And that's exactly what we wanted out of the public safety portion of it. Yeah. Could I sit there and not have one and just have the police chief and fire chief report to me and say, hey, everything's good. Everything's good. And I don't know anything of the better because I've got 7 other departments that I'm running that I hear the same thing from every day. That, and public safety is, I don't care what anybody says, it's got to be number one on your priority list as a community.
Agree.
Because it doesn't matter if your residents don't feel safe, you're not getting businesses here. You're not getting exactly. It's got to be number one. And I ran on that, but I didn't just run on it as a political slogan. I ran on it because I lived it, and I saw it from the streets up that you got to have safe communities. You can't just have rampant crime and squatters and nuisance neighbors that are just terrorizing neighborhoods, because people are going to move out. They're going to go to Clinton. They're going to go to New Hartford. They're going to go to Sherrill. They're going to say, hey, why am I dealing with this? And you don't want that. Then that turns into the businesses aren't coming here. The people aren't coming to support our businesses. So So yeah, public safety is number one with me, and it always will be because I think it's top priority.
Yeah, I'll say, how often do you because you oversee all these departments, right?
Yeah.
You're kind of the buck stops with you at
Yeah.
when it's all said and done. Like, how often do you talk or meet with the heads of all the departments? Is
So we do monthly.
okay?
We do monthly department head meetings. They've been kind of stagnant over the, once we were doing them regularly.
Or in the
tornado
beginning,
hit.
you're trying to get up to speed on everyone, and
Yeah.
it's
And
a
then
lot.
the tornado hit, and it was kind of like
Right.
the ones that were directly impacted by the tornado, the DPW, the public safety side of things, the chiefs, things like that. We met regularly because it was all tornado stuff. Once that's died out, now we've gotten back to just everybody getting together and saying, hey, let's all sit around the table here, what everybody's got going on. Because a lot of things come from that. Like if community and economic development's talking about something and public safety commissioner can say, hey, you know what, we've got, he's complaining about a building over there that they're having issues with a developer or something. He can chime in and say, hey, we can look into that and see what we can do on our side of it. So it's
I wonder
good.
what building you have an issue with.
I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, it's good. Have
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of resources this morning over there, Brad.
You know,
Could have helped us out with that.
Right when I drove by.
I do
Still
feel
there.
bad. I don't know which officer called me this morning at 3:30 a.m. and I feel bad because I forgot to get back to him. But
That's okay.
it was nice to be like, oh, it's actually not my building
It's not your building
anymore.
Yeah.
And I really hope you do something.
We're trying.
And this is the old Sentinel building, 333 West Dominick Street. We tried a couple years to find somebody, and tough tenant.
Yeah,
tough
and
tenant over
it's
there.
a tough
not even a
tenant,
tenant. No, well,
no,
for you. Anyway.
they're not in the area.
Yeah.
And we have something coming down. We sit back and we try to come up with solutions for how to fix some of these issues that everybody has. And you hear about the absentee landlord, and this is one of them. This is somebody that doesn't live anywhere near here. And we have constant issues over there, whether it's people breaking in or it's squatters that are setting up encampments.
Almost had their own zip code over there. At one
Yeah,
point.
exactly. But what we do is we send our guys over there, they clean it up, they shoo the people out of there, and we send them a bill. And it just adds up and adds up and adds up. But we sit back and we say, how can we fix this? And so we're working right now on an absentee landlord kind of system where people are going to have somebody locally that manages the property that can be held accountable. Because the problem is when we do these things and we issue these tickets, if these people live downstate, they're not showing up for court. So now you're going to get somebody there locally, they're going to get issued the ticket, they're going to come to court. If they don't show up for court, they're getting arrested on a warrant. And we want to do things like this. And it's not to deter people from outside the area of buying properties in Rome. We want that. We just want you to maintain them. We want you to take care of them. We don't want it to be the police going there 3-4 times a day to deal with people breaking in and cutting the pipe out, cutting the wires out. It's a huge, huge expense on the community, on the taxpayers. And it takes, for the police and the fire to respond over there because somebody broke in and cut the water pipes is now hours that they're not responding to other things, that need to be handled in the community or just patrolling our neighborhoods. So that's something that we're working on that's coming down the pipeline that hopefully is going to resolve some of these issues.
Speaking of water, I got one more on here and then I'm done. Besides, we're working on it. So
that's a great start.
South Rome.
Yes, you're right.
Nice.
How do you know what's being done about the drainage problem?
So we're working
in
on
South.
So we're working.
We're working.
We need a refill.
I know.
So the South Rome water issue is flooding, and it's been an issue. My wife grew up in South Rome. I've been with my wife since I was 17, so I'm pretty much an honorary South Roman, just because I've been down there for 24 years. It's always been a problem, and I think the old timers that used to take care of it and made it a little bit more reasonable are now getting on the path that they can't go out there and figure out the issues and take down the beaver dams and everything else. So it's an issue also with the canal. The canal used to be 419 feet, and now it's set at 421 feet. And we met with the canal to talk to them about that, about lowering the canal back down. And I think they worry that if they lower it here, it's going to flood out in Sylvan Beach. But at the same time, they can't just leave us here to fight with this water issue every year. So we had a great meeting with them right before the tornado. That's probably why they're saying, we always say we're working on it, because we truly are. It's not something that's going to be fixed instantaneously. This is a large issue. So we met with the canal, and they seem very receptive to looking into this, whether this would help out. And then also, we want to look at just the whole topography of everything. If there's something that we can do to help with the drainage issue, whether it's getting water to the canal or getting it.
I have
somewhere.
a multi-million-dollar solution.
What's that?
It's expensive, but I
I'm
actually
sure
think
it
it would
is.
work.
What?
If you were to dredge Hidden Lake of Lake Delta so it could hold more water back, you can almost double the size it could hold. You would prevent water issues downstream.
I don't know if that would fix it at the canal, though. I don't know.
I figured if it held back some of the other water that's because it can, we control the gates and everything for water downstream. I don't know where everything ends up.
Yeah,
but I was just thinking for water control, there's so much land that could be dredged and almost double the volume it could hold.
Yeah.
So that way you could keep it higher, hold back more water, and then release it when it needed to be.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know why I just came up
idea.
with it. You're just jealous you didn't think of that. So where does that water go?
We'll mark that if that works. Brad,
Yeah.
We'll.
I mean,
we're working
We'll
on
come
it, Brad.
back on it.
We're
Yeah.
working on it.
I don't know why that came to me, but I was like,
Brad, go with. We're working on it.
We're working on
so
it.
much easier.
Everyone loves it. They just buy it.
Yeah, they
I just wanted so we can control the water for our next move the ice bowl down to Lake Delta. A
There
little
you
high
go.
school hockey out on the
that'd be
on
fantastic.
the lake.
I'm actually playing in that.
You're gonna play in the ice bowl?
I'm playing in the ice bowl.
It's coming back this year.
Yeah, I know. I'm kind of excited. Should be fun.
You ever
up
been to
there.
the ice bowl?
I haven't been to
You've
it.
never been to that? You got to come up.
It's a lot of fun.
You got to come up.
It's a lot of
It's a
fun.
couple
We already
weeks,
lost our properties. We
Yeah,
weren't
I saw
able to. We weren't able to bump the
Yeah, I
rates.
had to
of it.
rent another property. I couldn't even get into one of your properties.
We didn't have time to gouge anyone.
I know.
It's terrible.
It's just
Terrible.
between the eclipse and the ice bowl, we're really dragging.
Yeah. But it's I hate to say it, but it's something we're working on. We actually have a firm coming in.
We'll have a working on tally.
Can we do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a firm coming. I think within the next week or two that we're going to discuss with them, looking at that project and seeing if there's something that we can do to try to help, because it does. It's unfortunate to see the people that are still down there farming and they do all that work on those crops, and then a heavy rain comes or something and it wipes out all their crops and they're done for the year, because that's not something that you can fix within a couple of weeks and get your crops back. I mean, once it's washed out, that's it. You've lost it. And then obviously the residents that live down there, and they can't enjoy their backyards until August because nothing dries up till then. So it is
Mosquitoes
something.
and all the stuff that
the
goes along
mosquitoes
with
are bad.
Right.
And
So to put a bow on that, we're working on it.
we're working on it. That's
Once you get that solved, Rome Country Club could use a little water mitigation at times too. So
Yeah.
if you could,
yeah.
maybe your
that's
hidden
the
lake
thing.
will solve that.
I'm surprised.
Rome Country Club is the wettest place in the whole city. And
All right,
Why
strike
isn't-
that from the podcast.
Why-
That's bullshit.
Why can't you rent like one of those like circle tubes? I'm moving to the next hole. Just gonna hop on. And yeah. Well, you don't have a lazy river at RCC. Could you imagine having a lazy river at RCC?
bumper boats.
Bumper
all
boats,
these
something?
fugitive clowns over here.
Right on the first hole, you guys can have bumper boats right out there. It's
All
funny.
right, we're
you
cutting that from the podcast.
You get a scorecard and a shovel to dig your ball out when it plugs on one.
No. In all seriousness, just to back it up, you've been doing a great job with that
Yes,
course.
you
I'm actually
really
kind of
have.
glad you
Your
didn't sell
course.
it.
No coming
It was
back
the
from that
biggest-
bread.
Biggest scam of selling and taking back I've ever seen in my
It
life.
really was.
But he's a
It really
brilliant. You put a brilliant
Well,
business guy
no,
in
that's
the.
good.
in
Nice to have a
chair.
father-in-law as
good.
an attorney.
That's
I'll just
that
say
is
that.
true. That is true.
That's true.
Yeah, I was glad to see that it didn't get taken over by a solar farm like everybody said it was going to.
Then
What
it was
were
a
some of the
wind
best-
farm.
Well, I was
Yeah.
gonna say, what are some of the best
Yeah.
rumors?
Weed. Which,
Well,
Oh, I didn't hear the weed
Wow.
farm.
Weed was a
Wait
good
minute.
one.
Really?
You
I
just
didn't hear
took,
that
you
one.
just stole tax money away from Rome.
I know.
God.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
They
But
could've
we're working on
balanced
it.
the budget.
We're working on it.
We get a little
Maybe
kickback from your
between the
carts.
holes we can plant.
Oh, great. You might be missing some crops by the
Yeah.
end of 18.
Yeah, that's all right.
Organic.
It is.
It's legal
It is.
now.
Yeah.
You'll be okay.
How is that going, by the way? Working on it?
Yeah, it's
So we're talking about the dispensaries, right?
yeah.
Or
Well, we don't have a dispensary in Rome yet, but
one was working toward it?
Yeah,
or was
we
trying
have, we have a
to,
couple
or-
that are working towards it.
Okay, well, we can applaud that, right? That's
Yeah,
the thing.
absolutely.
Is it
No, and
bec-
that's what we want to see. We
Yeah,
want
we
to see
just
the
want
ones that are
legit,
going
right?
through the process
Sure.
that are legit, that can come into our
Well,
community.
it's because he's done such a good job cleaning up on the public safety thing that we don't have the felonies and the felon
No.
that
No.
fast track you.
Yeah.
Because if you actually have, I forget what you have. Like if you have a previous conviction,
Yeah.
in
get bumped up yeah.
and you get fast tracked to the system. So it's kind of like a repurposing.
Yeah. And we obviously that was one thing we attacked heavily with the public safety commissioner was these illegal weed shops. And
all these pop-up smoke shops were coming hot and heavy. I remember even Utica were trying to get ahead of it because of what was happening.
Yeah.
So I all of them are not legal, or how does that?
Well, it's they can be legal in some forms, but they can't sell cannabis. Like you can't.
You got to know the code word to get the good stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
All these stores. If I'm a landlord, for instance, like even if I don't participate in the use of it, if I'm a landlord and someone wants to open up a shop to lease space for me, those are all bullshit. I mean,
well, no, because they can still sell
other items.
Things.
Yeah, bowls,
they can still, they can still sell. But it's
um,
the actual marijuana that they have to have the licenses for to be able to do it.
And all of them
like
do that. I mean, pretty much.
Speculation is yes.
Speculation is yes.
The ones that we knew about have been shut down. Right. The ones that we could go in there and we did our raids on and shut them down. I think we closed about 5 of them down in the city of Rome, and they're not back open. I mean, if you drive through now, and it's unfortunate to see them boarded up, but at the same time, we didn't want that because we were getting reports that, they were selling to 16 years old. You know what I mean? The high school kids were going there, and we didn't want to see that. And it's do it the right way. We encourage it. It would be great. Just do it the right way.
How hard is it to do it the right way?
Is it that
cumbersome or expensive, or what is stopping somebody from just being able to sleep better with their store, knowing that they're doing it the right way?
I think it's the process itself because it's new. It's got some lag time in it.
Okay.
Right? It's not call up today and get your license rolling.
Not like a liquor license where you can kind of.
The liquor licenses take a while.
Yeah.
I mean,
it takes a while too, but it's along the same lines.
It's the same. How are they? Are they given out by volume in counties? Is it a state? Is it a state? Where is the bottleneck? Whether because obviously you want to release only so many. And I know that there's usually bids and like stuff like that. But is that state or county or
that's all through state? So it's the Office of Cannabis Management. Is the ones that do all of
that. And I didn't know if there was something internally, like go down to the county level. You can only have like 1 or 2 in each county.
No,
or
I think it's broken down right at the state level that it says like within X amount of miles you can't have another.
Okay, I didn't know. Yeah, okay.
I think they actually have that broken down within the regulations of the through the state.
Okay.
That says you can only have a certain amount here. Within. I don't know if it says the crow flies or how they do the measurements, but they do have it regulated that way that. You don't get inundated with, 10 of them on a block.
Right.
Don't mind if I do here.
Yeah. No. Don't. We don't want to get in your way there.
How much is a license? Any idea?
I don't know. I don't know what the.
Just trying to think
we need to get a specialist in here.
Or do we think?
Yeah.
I don't want to get in trouble for saying this, but I mean,
I think
do people who want to get in that business may not have the best records? They wouldn't be approved.
No, because you get bumped up if you have a conviction, a previous marijuana. Possession, distribution charge, then you get bumped up on the list because
you want to find a partner that's
so you get rewarded for having.
Well, I mean, I know I had the same look, but I'm like, yeah, but you only can get like 10 people in the state are going to get rewarded for, for going
risky maneuver.
Risky maneuver.
Yeah.
So Wes, if you're thinking
I
about
don't want to do this, but
can we just do it on paper? You got
to bump me up on the list. Yeah, don't do that.
Don't do that.
Yeah,
I know you're always an entrepreneur and looking for new ideas, but that might not be.
I love
I don't think that one would pan out in your favor.
And my afternoon is open.
I don't know.
Yes.
I mean, you got the stripes on, but I don't know if he'd make it in OCJ.
Oh,
I don't know.
Not for 5 minutes.
Yeah, I don't think.
I don't think the ginger blue eye guy has a chance either. No. I know. I'm a lanky. We have nothing going for us for that. Zero.
What other burning questions do we get? Any?
That was,
those that were applicable.
So we got taken,
reasonable.
So we actually the post got taken down in one of the forums for some reason. I don't know why, but we're trying to figure out what we did wrong.
Oh.
So we lost a few days. Well, because we go to like people in places of Rome, opinions and stuff like that. But the post was taken down.
Oh, really?
So we had to reach the administrator, say, hey, any chance we could get those back because we actually want to use them for the mayor. So we did get them back, but we have to figure out. We're just trying to talk to the people.
Yeah, I wonder why.
I don't know.
Was it? I don't know. They're bashing going on or something.
We usually, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It could have been.
It could have been.
I don't monitor that.
I'll say
everybody always says they're like, oh, you read about it on Facebook. I really don't because, majority of that stuff. Sometimes you get the good things, people post on there and stuff like that. But majority of the time,
very different than the Utica side of things. And I don't know because they're very vocal on Facebook.
Utica?
Oh yeah, I mean. And maybe there's a play for both. So one I think is like you're almost accessible, right? Because the mayor might respond to me if I post something. So I guess there's that side of it. But even the council members in Utica, I see them on responding to people a lot.
Oh, really?
Again, I don't know which side is. I think there's a pro and con for being both. But
I guess I've never been really a Facebook kind of guy. As far as
yeah, and that's
being
why I
on
have
there
a team.
and active.
I mean, literally
even-
behind the camera, there's someone that's doing it for me. So I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
And that's
I
I've
have
always
3 TikToks now, though.
Do you really?
Oh yeah, check me out.
I'll definitely will.
I know.
I don't have
Yeah,
TikTok. but
yeah. I mean,
I'll
see, it's only because I'm being forced to.
Hey, no, that's good. That's good. They tried to get me to do when I was campaigning to do TikTok and
It does play though.
what's the other one? Twitter. Oh, wait, it's not even Twitter anymore, right?
X.
Yeah, X.
How old are you?
I know.
70?
Listen, I am the most. At 42 years old, people say it all the time.
You don't have a
I'm
social
the
media
guy-
manager?
I'm
We'll
the
help
guy.
you.
I print all my stuff. I read it on paper. Like I don't like to read a computer screen. I like in-person meetings. I
Yeah.
don't like Zoom and Teams. And I'm just an old school. Just I like.
I can appreciate it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Me too.
I had MySpace and I had Facebook, and that's all I've ever had. I've
My
never had.
space
any-
was pretty good. I
MySpace
tell you
was
what.
good. No, that was
You get to
college
pick that
days.
theme song.
The theme song was the play. I mean,
Yeah. Then you put the hidden message all the way at the bottom. They had to scroll all the way to the bottom to see it.
yeah. Hey,
You
but
know?
you never know. I mean, if you say you at least attempted in TikTok and it goes away, he's like, remember back in TikTok in my day? We were,
Yeah, maybe I'll have to look back into that. See if I can.
I can't believe you're getting into TikTok
Get it
now
done.
of all times.
Well, when
Are you
social
Chinese
media,
spy or
well,
something?
No, but when you launch a marketing company and we're our social media is one of our strongest selling points, and we have a great team doing it, then
You
you
should
kind of
probably-
should be like, oh, you know what? I should probably dabble. a
I
little
guess
bit.
this makes sense.
It's a good idea.
So yeah, if you need any social media help, let me know. But well, yeah, I got a great team around us now, so it is kind of fun. You get just before you'll probably see a wonderful transition of me drinking a fake coffee. Yes, it was fake because I prefer the hard
'Cause
stuff.
you would not. You would never touch.
I would
that.
never touch that. No, not at all. But no, it's funny watching it. Like you see them videoing these weird angles and stuff, and then you watch the edit, and you're like, damn, okay, all right,
Yeah.
all right.
Pretty
But
neat.
but to be fair, like we used to, and we still do, we use Google when we're looking for something, right? If you want to
Yep.
find a coffee shop in a town or whatever, or Google Maps
Yeah.
or Apple, right? But more and more people are going to like TikTok and like, hey, coffee shops near me, or like,
Really?
and they want to like see the inside of the coffee shop and where they want to go to this one
And
and
the
that one
vibe.
and like the vibe and like,
Wow.
so that's why we do, well, my team does a lot of the stuff for the other companies because they have to be on these platforms.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Well, so for
Yeah.
re-election and
re-election,
2.5,
come
3
say hi.
years.
We got you.
if you really want to lose, have Brad
Emily's
take care
gonna be
of
in
it.
your back pocket.
Listen, what's fun? My biggest people that between signs and my Sentinel media coverage, between all the ads and everything we did, that was our biggest push over the top.
Oh, I
It's
appreciate
a
it.
perfect
It
demographic.
Did a great job for us. And,
People will turn out, right?
Exactly.
Couple more minutes here. What else? Anything hard pressing?
I know there's
he's-
one thing
he's
we
so
really
comfortable.
buried it way down at the bottom of the show, but it's kind of a big thing, a big announcement from the governor
Yes.
Oh
today.
yeah, yes.
Yes.
Which
Yeah,
I don't
we
know
might have
when
to
edits
we can
gonna be
tease this.
done
We
here,
can push it in other ways. We have social media to
Yes.
bump that part of the
But
section.
let's do a little long form on what the governor announced this morning.
This morning. So we got $3 million towards our Copper Village project, which is the waterfront housing project, which is going off of South James Street, where the old trailer park was. And the developers bought up that property, and they're going to be putting a beautiful 250 unit apartment complex over there with some commercial space, a daycare. I mean, it's going to be great for this community. And
daycare word.
so we got awarded $3 million today towards that project.
All
which
right,
is-
all right.
which is great. It's going to help them.
Who are some of the other players or money? Like I know that's that's a huge one to get.
Yeah,
something
that's
from the state.
well. They've gotten several different. It's Penrose is the developer for the project, and they've been doing a great job with applying for grants and getting different things that way throughout the whole state. And this is through the pro housing community, that huge initiative that the governor started out last year, and we were awarded. City of Rome is a pro housing community. So we were able to apply for this grant, and we were awarded $3 million through it.
So you've got that development. Then
Yeah.
also Nescentia Health has got this
The
huge
Nescentia Health.
plan over
Yes.
there. Everyone's seen the
Yep.
trees come
Yeah,
down.
I was actually-
over
thank you
along
for
Potter
reminding me.
Road. Like that's a lot of housing between those two
That's
projects.
a lot of
Those are-
trees.
Yeah.
Both those projects are over 100 million each, right?
Oh yeah. They're huge
Holy
projects.
crap.
We did the infrastructure over there on Potter Road, so we ran the new water lines. out to that project, so they'll be able to tap in once that gets up and running. And yeah, that's going to be a huge project for this community. And it's that 55 and over crowd that's going to be able to downsize from those big homes that they raise their families in and they're just hanging on to because they don't know where else to go. And that's going to be a great option for them to go up there. And I think they're going to do a cart path right from there up to Utica, which would be nice. So,
It'd be nice. Just sweep the cornfield there. And get...
but it does start. That's a good point because, like, we do have a housing issue still,
absolutely,
and we'll continue to have a housing issue.
Yeah.
So, for some of those people that do want to downsize and free up the 3-4 bedrooms for these families that we really need, I mean, that's such a. This isn't just
a new housing stock. Like our housing stock is kind of long in the tooth, and it's nice to see some new construction, new build. But I mean, I saw the plans for it. It looks gorgeous.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
They put in what 7-8 million into the big manor. Of the
into the manor itself.
Yeah.
And then this project, pickleball courts and a pool here, and
then
it looks gorgeous.
They're working on the inn down at the lower.
They're spending a lot of money in Rome. It's very nice.
They're doing a great job up there. They really are. And the pubs, obviously, it's one of my go-to lunch spots. Is going up there and grabbing lunch up there, and they do a great job. Their food's phenomenal, and obviously banquet. We have the mayor's ball coming up in May, so that'll be again up at the beaches. So they do a great job for us up there. Oh.
Hey, thanks for coming on again.
Absolutely, I appreciate it.
Cheers.
Hey, cheers, guys.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Here.
Cheers. 1 year down.
4 or 8 to go. Real quick.
1 year down.
We'll close it on that one. We'll see you next time.
Sounds good, guys.